I'm a killer, bring it back.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fcked.
It's the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show. Make sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/guyswe,
FCKED.
There you go. That's the URL.
Like and subscribe, okay?
Yeah, and we're at, I'm at Philanthropy Gal on all social media.
I'm at Krystyna Hutch.
Mike,
I'm at Mike Coscarelli.
which is COS.
That's
not
right.
CAS. It's not Mike Coscarelli. Oh, you're the most Italian last name. And then we're at, Guys We FCKED at all the other social media platforms. So give us a follow. If you listen to the show, even if you're not on social media, just give us a follow. It's the most important thing because it's what all the kids look at. Okay. Mm-hmm. We gotta
do it for the kids.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it. We don't have kids, but we gotta do it for the kids.
Nope, exactly. That's why.
If you want to send us an email, it's sorryboutlastnightshow@gmail.com. This subject line says, why is my fiancé still searching his ex from a fake Facebook? Welcome to my Sunday nights, everybody.
Juicy.
You came to the right place.
Oh boy.
You're talking to the girl who only just a couple months ago realized that when you have someone blocked, they can still leave you voicemails. And boy, did I find a treasure trove of voicemails from men.
How did you find that?
Man.
I will show you, Krystyna
Holy
Hutchinson.
crap.
You go to your phone and then you go, I was already into it. So then you go to voicemail and then you scroll all the way down, blocked messages.
Oh, no.
And
Wait.
mine's all, yeah. And then you will see them all. Okay.
Oh, my mom. Oh.
You don't have your mom's name?
She's blocked.
Yeah, but you would still have the
Say
name.
Nancy Hutchinson.
That's from last
one.
year. Oh, okay, because I was like, these ones don't have a number. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I figured your mom would be there.
Yeah.
And there was just a random guy. But yeah, I was like, I have a lot of, I was like,
hot tip,
just
Corinne.
people. And I had no idea. And so there was like 2 years worth of one guy leaving me messages. And honestly, I listened to them and I was like, I know I had to block this guy because he's very charming. I was like, that's why I had to block him. Because I was like, had I gotten these voice messages at the time, I would have been like, we could have. I remember one time, like, it was like literally like the day after my dad died. And then I just saw him calling and I was like, what the fuck? Your timing is awful.
Come on, universe.
I just couldn't. I was like, I cannot pick up the phone right now. But anyway, hot tip. So I know a lot of people know that, but a lot of people don't know
I
that.
have no idea.
So yeah, if someone is blocked, like, yeah, they can't text you, but they can leave you a voicemail.
So I thought when they were blocked, they just it wouldn't even ring. It wouldn't even pick up. It wouldn't even, but that's not true.
No, man. iPhone said, we want to keep you hooked. We want to get you engaged with the cell phone. Yeah.
Move me up before you do me that dirty apple.
Well, because I even knew for emails, it's like they can still send you the email. Like the email blocking, I don't love because it kind of like, doesn't it just like flag it or something? It's like you said.
I don't think you can fully block an email.
I blocked email my mom's obviously, but I think it goes to spam.
It goes. Anytime, I've blocked one at night. What are you doing with the thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to adjust it so nobody's shit is fucked up.
Goodness gracious, Michael. For email, I think I blocked it and like then it just like came into my inbox and there was just like a flag next to it, basically like
you blocked this.
You said you didn't want to read this, but it's like what?
But here it is.
Yeah, come on. You gotta hide it from me.
Yeah.
Because like
that's the point.
In the Sex and the City movie, she has all those emails from Big, but Jennifer Hudson's like putting them in a different a different folder for her,
Yes.
So it's like I thought we should all have a Jennifer Hudson inside of our Gmail, right? I thought we all just had a Jennifer Hudson who was filing them away for us. And then one day I would open it up and see love poems from whoever I want to see them from.
What a world.
Anyway, so, okay, this email says, hi, this is long. Oh, great. I mean, like, I don't know. I can, let me try to answer the email without reading it. It's like, yeah, he's still interested in his ex because most of us have an ex who is the one who got away and we'll always wonder about them. But like, if we were actually with them, it wouldn't work out either. So we just want to be unhappy in two ways. Okay.
Next.
So 30,
so right.
Yeah, it's like, this is my fucking wheelhouse. So 30-year-old female getting ready to marry my 38-year-old male previously married fiance at the end of May.
So far.
We have a great relationship. Always starts out that way. You know what? That's how I actually have faith in myself, because I've never started an explanation about any of my relationships with we have a great relationship. So
it's almost like a bad omen.
Yeah. So maybe everything's going fine. We have a great relationship, and outwardly I haven't noticed any ex-related red flags until today.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, he's also probably getting nervous because of the wedding. Yeah. And it's like he already had, I don't believe divorce to be a failure, but most people, I'm sure, think of it that way, especially men, because they're not actualized. Sorry, you can be there, guys. The door is wide open. We invite you to. While using his phone while navigating on road trip, I noticed he had the Facebook app. Weird because he's not 100. Weird because he doesn't have a Facebook, or so I thought.
Girl, you was wrong.
Secret Facebook.
Yeah, it's like, the coolest uncool story ever. I have a secret Facebook.
It's not that threatening, whatever he's doing.
When he went to bed that night, I checked his phone. He's given me his passcode.
Sick.
Straight to the Facebook app I go, and I see he has a very obviously fake burner Facebook account. The account has a couple of friends that all appear to be bots. No photos, no posts, no messages, which is easier on Facebook because you don't leave a trail the way you do on Instagram. So I click on his search bar and I see only his ex-wife's 38-year-old female. I don't know that was necessary, but you seem mad about it.
She's old.
She's older. I thought he would have forgotten about that bitch.
She an old bitch.
That's what how that reads, just so you know. Because it would be more meaningful if she was like wildly young or something. But she's the exact same age as him, so you're just mad.
Yeah.
So I click on the search bar and I see only his ex-wife's 38-year-old female name on the search results. So I click his how can he miss someone older? So I click his search history.
He can't miss someone over 33.
Right? I thought that's why he picked me. So I click his search history, and over the past 4 years, he has been logging on to this weird fake account and searching his ex periodically. Sometimes it was even weekly. Background, they've been divorced for about 4 years. Okay, so that
whole
checks
time
out.
He didn't leave?
We met a year after their divorce. The relationship did not end well. She cheated.
That'll keep you hooked in some way.
And did some other money-related shady stuff.
Oh.
He was the bread winner. He makes like about $1 million a year, and she did not work. Sounds great.
Yeah,
Suffice to say, she took him to the cleaners during the divorce.
Oh.
I clicked on her profile and she does not appear to be in another relationship. It's mainly selfies and posts about selling. There's like it's a wellness hair pyramid scheme, according to Isabella, who's a young person who works with us.
So it has to be true.
I wonder if this is the same woman.
Yeah.
that I know.
Oh God. I know it's his ex-wife because, I mean, wouldn't you have seen a picture of the ex-wife? I always ask for photos because I want to see.
You ask for them?
Oh yeah. Well, I always like to see a photo of who your ex was. It really helps me. The same way I ask the listeners, it really helps me.
It does. Yeah.
I want to.
I don't ask though. I just find it.
I want to see if you have a type. I just always ask. Because then I don't have to like self-censor and be like, well, your blonde ex-wife or whatever. They just know I know. I don't like to keep secrets or think about do the work to keep them. I know it's his ex-wife because number one, she still has his last name. And number two, she accidentally liked an Instagram photo of mine from 2014 / viewed my story a while back. And I asked my fiance who it was.
Jesus, you're looking at everybody who views your story and somebody you don't know. But yeah, life of a non-entertainer.
You don't think that's weird? You don't think it's weird that she's getting married to someone and she had no idea who his ex-wife was?
I do think that's weird. Yes,
very.
I do think that's weird.
I think that's very strange.
They were married.
Yeah, and they met. This woman met him a year after their divorce. A divorce is probably not it can be a little mildly traumatizing, I imagine, especially if there's cheating involved, especially if there's money grubbing involved.
Yeah. I think that's very weird that you just didn't know who that was. That you had to ask who that was. That's weird. I made my Instagram private, and immediately after, a fake account requested to follow me, which I can only assume was her. This girl needs to learn how to use the internet better, because you don't need to okay, whatever. I mentioned
teach us, Corinne.
That's ridiculous. I mentioned the Facebook app to my fiance, and that I thought he didn't have an account. He said he had it for the divorce to get evidence of her cheating / assets, that kept it for Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, honestly, you can sell a lot of stuff really fast on Facebook Marketplace, I will say.
I did not tell him. She's like, oh, she made $1 million on Facebook Marketplace.
I also like how she's like, so, do you have Facebook?
Right.
Like, you didn't just snoop in his phone while he was asleep for 3 hours and time didn't exist, because that's how zoned in you are.
Yeah. Aren't you afraid of him waking up too? I would be like, ugh.
It's kind of a high.
Oh,
I've heard.
I did not tell him I went into his account yet and saw his searches. So now I'm sitting here wondering what to do next. I love this guy. I thought we were great together. All of our friends and family love us together too. That's not a reason. That's a weird sentence to even put in an email, but I'm me. So, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's how you feel about the person.
Yeah. All our friends and family love us together too.
Doesn't matter.
I'm dry.
Yeah.
Next.
There goes my arousal for the next year.
That's so boring. What? Everyone wants him around all the time. Okay. It's like having a brother. I already have one of those.
If you ever got married, it would just be a roast.
Yeah.
The whole
It's
thing
such
would
an
be a roast.
insane way of looking at it. It really is.
I love a bad boy. The baddest bad boy. The first step to being a bad boy is that your friends and family and your don't fucking like him.
Everyone hates him, right?
Everyone hates him.
I've dated a lot of those.
He does all the right things and is a wonderfully caring partner. Okay, that's weird too. He does all the right things. He's hiding. He's killed someone.
Oh.
But then why is he religiously searching his ex on Facebook throughout all these years? I feel weird about bringing it up because I am in the wrong due to the snooping.
Correct.
But I also feel weird about knowing this information and can't help but think, does he still have feelings? If you think that you're ever going to marry someone who doesn't have feelings for another person, you're never getting married.
Yep.
Just please know that.
Yep.
Please know that. Part of like being alive and like, I think honestly, part of keeping your relationship fiery is that you will have a little feelings for other people and he will have other feelings for other people. If someone loved only me.
Oh, that's too much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a stalker living with me? Am I marrying a stalker? Am I marrying my stalker? No, thank you. For what it's worth, I am self-sufficient. I make approximately $300,000 depending on the year.
Nice.
Wow.
I own my own. Mike's interested.
Like, holy moly, a woman can make that much?
A person can make that much. That's a lot of money.
I own my own house, so it's not like I'm hanging on to this relationship for survival reasons.
Right. I would hope so.
Jesus Christ.
My God. You're not a prisoner.
Here's my fiance and I from Easter this year.
He looks like Freddie Prince Jr.
What? You have an eye disease.
Freddie Prince Jr.?
Freddie Prince Jr. is much darker all around. Like his eyes, his hair. This is not a bad looking guy, but he's not. It doesn't look like. I mean, they're both white and men.
That doesn't look like that.
Not
Dude,
with my eyes.
Are you serious?
Not with my eyes.
I think I do have a disease.
Yeah.
Because
You want to forward that to me and I'll be the deal breaker
fucking
here?
identical.
Oh, the tiebreaker?
They look fucking identical.
But we've just.
I've literally been in an inch away from someone's face asking if they were somebody and they weren't. So I do it is possible.
Well, we've discussed this before. You do have this disease where you just see it.
Yeah. For sure. 100%.
Here's my fiance and I from Easter this year, and the least filtered photo I could find of his ex. Wow, the shade you are putting on, dude! I thought you were the same person. I thought you were the same person. Oh my god!
Also,
no.
Oh my god!
They are.
No,
those
it's
are
not.
different women.
Yes,
they do look identical.
Oh
though,
my
right?
god!
That's not just me.
Oh my god! No, your eyes are working for this one.
They look. Do you see this, Mike?
You also sent me a picture of Freddie Prince Jr.
Oh,
not the guy.
yeah. Okay.
I know what Freddie Prince Jr. looks like.
Girl,
dude, Michael, you're gonna look at this, and these are two separate women. Yo, you look identical to his ex-wife.
this is a real Ames J situation.
Wait, did she point that out?
If you guys know pig Latin.
Okay, she did point it out.
What?
Holy shit!
This is okay. Listen,
This is like the biggest reveal in an email we've ever gotten. I cannot believe how identical they
I
are.
have had
This
exes
is
date
pretty
people
crazy.
who look a lot like me. And I've roasted them mercilessly on this show. This is beyond
that.
anything I've ever seen.
This is beyond that.
This is
she could
beyond.
be your twin. twin sister.
If she was on a milk carton and I saw you, I would bring you to the FBI.
Give me my reward.
The listener that's writing in is the one in the picture with the guy.
Yeah. And the one, the solo picture is the ex.
Okay.
They are
wow.
pretty much identical.
Shit.
They really are.
I think you got bigger problems here, girl.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing I thought when I read this email. I go, the problem is that you're the. Do you have ask your mom if she donated eggs? Like what?
Yeah, honestly, that's insane. That's insane.
She goes, this is so dumb, but I would love to hear all of your perspectives, especially Mike's from the male perspective. This is not dumb. Usually people write us things that are dumb and blow them up. This is the opposite. Again, well, as usual, you're worried about the wrong thing.
Wait, her photos, hold on. Here's my fiance at Easter last year. She has brown eyes. Okay, so she has brown eyes?
She has brown eyes in her tagged photos, but makes them blue when she posts her own. I don't know.
Strangely, her photos are starting to look closer and closer to my own actual face. That's what the fuck?
That's
weird.
I've had people dye their hair to look like mine, and then I changed it because I was like, nah, I see what you're doing.
Is she saying that like as time has gone on, now she's making an effort to look more like the listener who wrote in?
It's what it seems, yeah.
But keep in mind, we're getting this from a skewed perspective because obviously there's no shade to you. You have every right to be mad, but like new lady, you're like obviously so mad at the ex still, so it's like I can't exactly tell how much to believe. It's like it's like you both are looking
your perspective
at each other.
is filtered through your anger.
Yeah, and so it's like of course, from your perspective, she's changing herself to look like you. But from our perspective,
are you subconsciously maybe?
Or
who knows? It's worth an ask.
But also, this guy just has a type. I will say when someone moves on, like all the websites and like the tipsters say that if after they date someone very much unlike you, that's a rebound. And if they date someone like you, then that's a person who they're going to stick with. So by those standards,
he's sticking with you forever.
He's sticking with you, and he just has a very specific type. And he found her.
How much they look
in you?
I'd say he has a specific type.
Right.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is weird. This whole situation is really weird. But what I will say is like I think a lot of people are looking up their exes pretty consistently.
Oh yeah.
I think that's crazy.
I looked up mine the other day just because I was curious, and I don't miss them at all. But it's just interesting to find especially if they were married. So that's a really intense thing. And then he might have had to get evidence on her cheating or whatever the fuck he was saying. Like he really that could be very valid, Like
right.
You could either assume he's lying or assume he's telling the truth. He could be both. So how does she solve this?
I think the bigger issue is also like if he was reaching out and having conversations with her.
Yeah, he's just kind of looking.
And then that would be a bigger red flag. I mean, I just can't imagine. I always thought that I would at some point just break off and never even be curious about like exes and what they're up to.
Mm-hmm. It's a human thing to be curious about.
Yeah, I really don't. And I mean, it's crazy how much you guys look alike, but I will also say, listener, to your credit, I think you look classier and and prettier.
And if it doesn't work out with him, at Mike Coscarelli.
I'm not even saying that. I just think that like you, she looks like a knockoff version of you.
They look like the same person.
They do look very, very
I
similar.
cannot believe
this is too
how similar they look.
This is a bit filtered, so I can't actually tell how the one on the right actually looks. But
and the one on the right, her eyes scare me a little bit. And
because they're fake, right? Yeah.
Oh,
she's making them blue and they're not blue. From what we've been told.
I think we're like we're worrying about the wrong things. He was attracted to you both. He married her obviously, like he liked her. I think you have to have a conversation about this. This is this is the problem with snooping. You've gone too deep. Now it's on your mind. It's going to affect the relationship.
Yeah, and you don't want to build resentments. You do not want to build resentment. That's so unhealthy.
And I also think it is really weird that he didn't offer you the information of who his ex-wife was and what she looked like. I think that's very strange.
Especially because you guys look very
now we know why he didn't know.
I think that's very fucking strange. Okay. And he gave you his passcode. And so I don't know. You can just tell the story like organic. I mean, obviously,
just be honest.
You do run the risk of him getting really mad at you, but like, I just can't see stepping into a marriage and not addressing this.
I think people, when they snoop and then if they find something that's like kind of fucked up or like worth a conversation, does the partner that got snooped on, they could very well use you snooped, so everything you say is invalid, but that's not actually true. Right? I mean, there's violations on both parties.
Yeah, there's of course, but it's like, if you uncover something untruthful, it's like, well, my instinct was correct.
Right.
But the thing is, like, there really shouldn't be a reason that he should get very mad because like you didn't like read his emails or his texts, I hope. You just went to the app because, he did lie to you about having a Facebook and it popped up in like the way you found out initially was something that was in your clear view on the road trip.
Yeah.
So this to me isn't like awful.
Yeah. It's within bounds.
I just think it's like really weird that you didn't know who this woman was and couldn't have just looked her up on your own Facebook. Like, I think it's so strange that he never offered that information to you and that you're stepping into a marriage and then you don't know anything about someone's ex-wife. I think that's really crazy, actually.
I agree.
And so I think it needs to be discussed. And, whatever.
You guys are a hot couple.
Just say like, hey, it made me feel a little strange that you didn't ever tell me really about your ex-wife until I had to ask because she was watching my Instagram story. And now on top of that, I find that you're looking her up and she looks just like me. And it makes me just feel weird.
Yeah.
Because also, like, he's not really in trouble, right?
No, exactly.
He didn't do anything like
crisis.
wrong.
Exactly. You didn't. I think it's great because you didn't uncover him. You're not like,
her. Gotcha, bitch.
He's allowed to look at her. We're all looking at.
Of course.
We're all looking at shit, and like that's the part that you shouldn't know. And that's you did damage to yourself that you're gonna now have to undo on your own time because you shouldn't have known that, and he had every right to be looking at his ex as frequently as he wanted to. We all have a private life
to do that.
We all have a private life that should remain private. That is our own, whatever we're going through in our minds that we're searching. Like these couples who quote know everything about each other, yuck, that's going to end in a homicide. It's just not good.
Yeah, but something as big as not knowing his ex-wife or anything about her or what she looks like is very odd.
But I will say, when you approach him, you got to control your petty. It's making you. It's funny, and I get it, but it was still his ex-wife. I'm sure he still has feelings for her in some way. I'm not saying he's still in love with her.
He was betrayed by her, so that's a hook, regardless.
Yeah.
And men do what, like it takes something from men when like they're cheating. They're just like in a different way. Like it like bruises the masculinity and the ego in a different way, for sure.
Yeah.
So. He's still recovering that. And also men move on as far as like in the dating world super fast a lot of times, but in their hearts, they move on slower than women. And that's just like proven. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that it's going to take a while for him to fully get over her, but the only way to fully get over someone is to move on to someone new
somebody
and
who looks
better.
exactly like them.
Yes.
So,
to marry an exact replica.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like to find. I don't know. Again, it just goes into like no one's special, no one's unique. You're not the only one, but if you're into the concept of marriage in general and agreed to it, like I truly, I don't think there's anything that happened that means that you can't continue building your love in your relationship.
This really is, though, man. I mean, looking at these pictures, I don't know.
Do you think he looks like Freddie Prince Jr.?
I actually do.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not. It's
but he doesn't.
like,
you both have the eye disease. Then
I do.
He's just a fucking generic white guy. Well,
I see it.
Freddie Prince. Well, because he maybe the shape of the face, but to me, Freddie Prince Jr. has such a specific look, and he's like he captures the vampire darkness that this guy is this guy is like light colored.
I don't think he looks exactly like Freddie Prince Jr., but I see the resemblance.
This guy is like light colored. This guy looks like a baseball player.
He's not as handsome as Freddie Prince Jr., obviously.
This guy looks like he reeks like baseball, but he just looks like a baseball player, like a generic baseball player.
All right, guys. Well, let us know, girl. I want to know how that one goes. Can you email us back and give us an update? And also, everybody listening, we are doing a live episode of Guys We Fcked Wednesday, May 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can call in. We will have a phone number. You could text us. You could call us. We answer your calls and we give you advice live on youtube.com/guyswefcked without the U and fucked. If you want to comment during the live broadcast, you got to subscribe. Gotcha. And then towards tour dates. I have some upcoming tour dates. I'm going to be in Toronto, July 28th and 29th. Los Angeles, August 2nd. I'm doing a show in the main room at the Comedy Store, and come. San Diego, August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Fort Worth, I'm in you August 11th and 12th. And if you don't know, I have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson, where 4 times a month I do weekly Zoom therapy in quotes sessions, and I post the audio of those sessions onto the Patreon, so it's kind of like its own little podcast, and it's really interesting and fascinating. And if you come on, I'll give you advice, or you could just listen. It's very it's helpful for the world and for your psyche. So patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson.
And make sure to listen to Without a Country. You guys probably see my reels on Instagram, kind of just figuring out the news that I think that you should know that week, the things that are relevant, the things you want to be talking about at the water cooler, in your email, on a date, I don't know, wherever you talk about smart stuff. So we roast the news. I've been doing a lot of talks about domestic violence, specific news stories that kind of get washed over because there are so many women murders. How can you even keep track of them? So again, Without a Country comes out on Wednesdays on YouTube and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Give us a follow on subscribe on YouTube. Follow the Instagram Without a Country podcast. It'll be a fun time.
And how are you?
Oh, okay. Well, do you have 2 small things?
I do. I've been watching, a lot of times people, I assume at any given point, there are people listening to us who are going through the heartache of a breakup. I have 2 pieces of art that you can consume that'll make you glad you're not in a relationship. One is couples therapy on HBO. Yes.
Oh, that show, I had to stop watching it actually because it was like,
a lot.
It was a hard watch.
But if you are out of a relationship and you're reeling from it, this will not make you that. This will make you a little less sad because you're like, holy shit, relationships, when they're at their messiest, obviously they're casting couples here that are like in deep shit. It'll make you feel better about your life, honestly. And then the other one is Where Should We Begin by Esther Perel. It's a podcast. She hasn't released new episodes in a while, but that's a one-time group therapy, couples therapy session rather. And listening to those 2 things, you're like, relationships are a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people are so fucking complicated and they just spew what they don't like about themselves on other people, and it's so exhausting. So if you are in a place in your life where you're reeling from the pain of a breakup or a divorce, this will make you feel better. Gotta be honest. And then the other thing is I got a Brazilian wax
for the first time.
I've never gotten waxed.
Really? The internet was talking about this.
Never got waxed.
I
posted a reel of my reaction because my friend Chris Rivera, I highly recommend her. She saved my skin, my face skin, and then beat my pussy up with her wax strips.
Nice.
It's really painful.
I knew that. I knew it was painful, and I knew that I'm a big old bitch when it comes to pain, and I'm very dramatic. So I was like, oh, this will be fun. This will be funny. That's honestly why I did it. I'm going on a vacation tomorrow, but like I mostly did it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw God. The pain rippled through my next 3 lifetimes. And I'm going to be afraid of wax and not know why the next 3 lifetimes.
You didn't even get to the best part and the most painful part yet as the bad news, Krystyna.
The ingrown hairs.
When it grows back, you feel like you have lice in your pussy. It is the itchiest experience of your
fucking kidding me?
I am not kidding you. So just bring like a talcum, like not talcum but like a cornstarch. Bring a powder or something, or like you're gonna need cream. It's by day 3. I wanted to rip my skin off. I wanted to rip
3
my
days
skin
after
off.
the wax?
Yeah, because it starts growing back and it
goes back that quick.
Well, that's why I got mine lasered because
fuck would it grow back that quickly?
Because
think about like when you shave
all your hair grows back that quickly.
Yeah, but you would think you're ripping the root out of it.
No.
You're not just trimming it.
You get like an extra day or 2 or something.
No.
It's not that much time.
No.
Yeah.
Why do women do that?
It's not.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was having sex. You can't have sex for 24 hours because you don't want to get the sweat and stuff. You need to like let it breathe because the follicles are open.
You'll get a rash.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. And we were in the middle of having sex and my partner was like, yo, your pussy looks so good. And I was like, and I'm going to do it next month. God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you
the
can do it
reaction
more
was
than
pretty
once
awesome.
a month to like keep it, I think, right?
No.
Or what do you guys?
Well, apparently it's less pain. It's less pain. I don't know anything about this yet, but like it's less painful the more you do it.
That's what.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, when the hairs are shorter, but the thing is, it's like but the problem is like you can't really do anything in between. So then this is also a part that I didn't like about it. You only have a fully waxed pussy for like a couple days, and then it starts growing back, and then it kind of looks worse than it did before.
Oh, damn.
Right.
Yeah, I was waxing for like a couple of months, like a couple of years ago, and then I was like, I truly was waking up in the middle of the night because I was so itchy, and then I was getting ingrowns, and I was just like, this sucks. And then I just paid to get it lasered.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And it's all lasered off?
Yeah.
How many sessions?
It'll take over the course of like a year. And honestly, I probably
pubes are pretty.
I should do a couple more because COVID hit and then I had to stop going. But I'm like, it's enough now that it's like such minimal shaving, and I kind of like that I can have a little bit of hair to grow back if I want. So it's like at a good point for me now.
Right. Fuck, it starts going back that soon.
It does look great though. I mean,
it looks great.
I feel like getting 6 years, but I mean, the pain
when you've been I know I never grow out my pubes. I always shave.
Fucking awful.
But when you have that wax strip on your vaginal lip get ripped off for the first time, I mean, I'd rather give birth. I have not given birth, so I know every woman in here who has given birth who's listening is going, fuck you. And as you should, but like, Jesus fucking Christ. I could not believe there's pain like that.
Don't go near are also like, it depends where you are in your menstruation cycle too.
I got my period the next day.
Oh, then that was the worst time to get it done. You were so sensitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why it probably hurt more than it should have.
And I forgot to take Advil. She told me to take Advil 30 minutes before and I forgot.
Yeah.
It was really fucking painful.
You got to take that meds.
I was weeping.
They're not fucking around.
Yo.
They are not fucking around.
Yo. And a lot of people told me about sugaring. Like, sugar, don't wax. I got to look into that. I don't know what that is yet, but.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other thing I have is longer, so I'll do it on the next episode because our guest is coming. But this is just a funny little thing. So, if you have a moment, leave a review for my store, Perfectly Centered in Larchmont. Because it's the same as anything. It's like mostly 5-star reviews. Because listen, I put a lot of work into that shop, and it's like I don't know if you've ever been to like a baseball card store, collectible store. Number one, you can tell it's woman owned because it is the cleanest, most well dusted, most glass cleaned baseball card store in history. Sometimes I actually think I should sprinkle dust on things in the store because I'm like, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it that there's not dust on it.
But you're still used to.
But it is a fucking manicured store. I've been in a lot of collectible stores over my lifetime. And so a second thing about the store, and I talked to John about this extensively before we opened the store, was that I was like, I really want to keep the prices fair. Like I'm not doing it personally for me to make money. I'm doing it for like personal reasons and to keep the legacy going and all this kind of private stuff. And just because I truly love the art of and hobby of collecting, and I wanted to share it with other people. And my dad had such a cool collection of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I literally had a sit down talk, and what business owner does this about keeping prices fair, okay, in a brick and mortar, which is impossible in this business because most people buy online. And so every now and then someone will get mad because they like found something online cheaper for free. Of course you did. That's why no brick and mortars exist anymore, babes. Like part of what you're paying for is the experience of being able to look and touch and all these things, because rent ain't free, okay? Lights ain't free. Internet ain't free.
Wish it was,
the phone ain't free.
Did not.
And so it's mostly 5-star reviews, but then every once in a while someone will get mad because they found something for like $20 cheaper online, and they will leave a 1-star review. So now on my 5-star review, and you guys know I fucking hate to skew from perfection. It was fucking tarnished. So leave a review. But I was going through the reviews, and I did notice that Christina Marie Hutchinson very recently left a 5-star review, which was very sweet, and I appreciate it so much. She goes, this is the go-to spot for all your sports cards and Pokemon card needs, as well as movie memorabilia. It's a fun store. Check it out if you know what's good for you. And I was like, that's so sweet. But then I saw that Christina Hutchinson had left 7 Google reviews, and I was like, I gotta read these bitches' reviews. I was like, what is a Christina? Because I'm obsessed. I think that with the reviews you leave on Google, like I'm a person who
I could search for them.
Unless it's like, well, it's in your profile, you can click under it. And so, if there's a way, I would find it. And so, like for me, like I know I don't leave reviews unless I know the business owner stoner because that's just like, and I think that's like just my personality, right? And so I was like, what does Krystyna's reviews say about her personality? Because I truly think like if you go to someone's like Google thing and it's all bad reviews, like that's someone you don't want to fuck with. That's like a curmudgeon. And so I look and she's like,
positive, I bet.
Yeah. One is like, I think you're OBGYN, like from when you lived on the Upper East Side. And it's like, I'll just say, Dr. G is absolutely fabulous. Her energy is uplifting. What the fuck writes that about? What year did I write that? Gynecologist. It doesn't say the year. I can't tell.
That could have been yesterday. Let's be honest.
No, I haven't been in the gyno in too long.
Just a cafe, one of my favorite breakfast sandwiches, and iced vanilla chais in the city.
Yeah.
And then this one I know is your friend's yoga studio, so that one doesn't count.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's another one. She goes, this place is all caps, must go for brunch. Everything from the iced coffee.
Oh, this place in Asbury.
To the homemade Pop-Tart was exceptional. The vibe is relaxing and the live music is the perfect cherry on top. We were really excited to find a good place in Asbury. Everyone was just like the most. It was the most Krystyna Hutchinson set of reviews that I've ever seen in my entire life. But when you call the energy of your OBGYN uplifting, that sent me. I almost fell off my bed. I was like.
I remember her. Yeah. She was pretty cool. She reminded me of Michelle Obama. She's very uplifting. I gotta be honest. I miss her.
What an experience.
Give her a call.
What an experience. More power to you.
That's so funny.
We need more positive Google reviews, guys. I think that is the key. If you want to make a small difference in the world, leave a small business that you love or your OBGYN because they need some love too. Their hands in your pussy all day.
Yeah.
They need some fucking love because nothing makes my day more than a positive review for Perfectly Centered. I love it. I put it
helps the business. Like I look at reviews when you look shit up.
I don't give a shit if people call me a dirty old cum bucket on YouTube videos when I'm on a podcast, but
don't say shit about my baseball cards.
Don't say shit about my dad's baseball cards.
Yeah.
I'll come to your house.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay. Guys, our guest today is a very funny stand-up comedian. We had a really interesting conversation about masculinity and mental health that I think you'll really enjoy.
And he wears a lot of rings.
Yeah, a lot of rings. Great hair.
I really like him.
He looks like the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
or something.
he has a Romanian vampire look for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool guy.
His new special, Take Care, is out now on YouTube for free. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mick YOUSSEF. We are here with Mick YOUSSEF. I was going to ask you how to pronounce your last name. Is it YOUSSEF or Youssef?
Youssef.
Ah, fuck. Okay.
But
We're
I'll
here with Mick
accept either.
YOUSSEF. Yeah. Happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're all caffeinating, talking about Third Eye Blind. Have you ever met a famous person that you like fanboyed over?
That I actively went, oh my God, like did the fanboy thing, or
internally.
I was a fan.
Yeah, you were a fanboy.
Let's see. I became friends with the guys in Tool.
That's really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and they are my favorite band of all time.
They're fucking,
What?
Yeah,
they're a great fucking band.
That's like if I became friends with the Spice Girls.
Yeah, it's very similar.
We have the same agents.
They're brilliant. They're brilliant.
They're amazing. But Rory Scovel and I did a tour in 2020 where we followed them around the country and did stand-up shows around their shows.
That's so fun.
Because we're both huge fans.
Oh, I love that for you guys.
And then we were like, hey, maybe we'll meet them one day. Maybe they'll like find out about the tour. And I've written articles about them, about the band for Esquire.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, oh, well, I've talked to their PR person. Maybe like she'll tell them because I've like dealt with her and stuff. And then Rory went on Conan one day, like a month before the tour. And he was like, hey, Conan's having me back on. I don't have anything to plug right now. I'm not on a show or anything. So I'm just going to plug our tour. I'm like, yeah, sounds great.
Right.
2 days later, the guitarist hits him up and goes, hey, a friend of mine was watching Conan and said that you're doing like some kind of tour. Or he's like, yeah, me and another comic. Or he's like, oh, cool. Well, why don't I give you backstage passes and you guys can come hang out after your first show in San Diego. So their show was the night before ours. So we hadn't even done our first show.
Oh, wow.
And the guitarist, Adam, invites us backstage. And
damn. Did you watch the show from backstage?
No, we watched it from the kind of near the front.
Okay, cool.
Like on the floor. Because you want to be like either on the floor or even out back because their visual show's like unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
But
this is a really awesome story, but I also love how it involves one of the parties having to have a guest appearance on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
like just a small town boy story. I
wrote a letter to my local
Conan O'Brien.
that's very funny.
I'm also famous.
we did wonder if it would happen outside of that because I told their PR person and she was like, I'm going to tell Adam and Maynard. And then we were like, cool, so maybe.
Yeah.
And so we still wonder, we're like, if you hadn't gone on Conan, how many dates would we have to have done before one of them was like, oh, these comedians are like following us around.
Right.
Let's maybe meet them.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll never know, but we're so happy it happened the way it did.
Yeah. You made it work.
That's
it was
great.
Unbelievable.
You asked and the universe gave it to you.
You manifested that shit.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I'm so thankful that rock stars respect comedians and comedians respect, like we respect each other's art as like, I don't know how I could do that, man. Like, I don't know how I could do that, man. And it's nice. It feels like you're at an equal playing field in a way.
Yeah, they're big comedy guys. They like put Bill Hicks's comedy in one of their albums.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
That's how I discovered who Bill Hicks was.
Really? I love Bill
Through Tool?
Through Tool.
That's so funny.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and they have like his photo, like a painting of.
I don't know that Bill Hicks would like that, but
He might.
He opened, or he was gonna open for them once,
Right.
or he was like buddies with them a little bit.
Right.
It was like
Okay.
bizarre, but like they're big comedy guys. Like
How's Maynard?
yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's like really funny. He's like got a great sense of humor and like. He hung out in the LA comedy scene in the early 90s before he got into music. Like he knows like David Cross and Patton and all those guys.
Holy
Like,
shit.
damn.
yeah, he's a really interesting dude.
Yeah. His artistic brain is fucking, oh my God.
Yeah,
I just wanna
he's
pluck
super
it.
nice, super funny. Like, he's really easy to talk to, and yeah, he's great.
damn.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Maynard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just saw
He,
that.
he shares the birthday with Victoria Beckham.
Oh my
Does it?
God. Both
Okay.
of your idols' birthdays.
This is incredible. Well, we're in a good season now. A lot of my favorite celebrities are Aries, so
Aries.
there's just something about them I like.
I'm an Aries rising.
Oh, it's the 7th. Oh, so yeah, Taurus starts in 3 days.
Is that what you are?
Yeah, my birthday's
What's
May
the
3rd.
Taurus attributes?
Super
Stubborn?
awesome.
Oh, okay.
Really, no, stubborn.
Huge dong.
Really stubborn, like sensual in terms of like food and wanting to feel good about things.
But not
like,
the pussy.
I think that too. I think sensual kind of across the board.
Food and sex are very connected.
Yeah. But I'm like a big like food comfort kind of like I love, I don't use the term foodie, but I like food in that way too. So
Same,
I was like,
yeah.
there's another, because I'm like kind of textbook Taurus, and I'm not a big astrology guy, but I had my chart.
Your rings kind of were like
Yeah, it screams chart reading at least thrice.
I should
You've
have my
had a palm
sign on
reading or
necklace,
two.
yeah. I did a long time ago.
Yo, palm readings are legit.
Are they really?
I've had one that I was like, fuck. That's pretty good.
I've never done it, but I got my chart done. My first girlfriend, I think, wanted to do it. She was like, I knew you were a Taurus the moment I met you. I want to do your chart. I'm like, dude, I don't know anything. I'm like, I read an astrology book once.
Wow.
And she's like, I know how to do it. Just call your mom, find out the
Birth
minute
time.
you were born.
Yeah.
It always starts with calling your mom.
Yo, every girl always wants to know what exact time are you born and where.
Yeah. So I found out, and I asked my mom, like, what time was I born? And like, I was born in Beirut. So she's like, oh, I'd have to like look that up because of birth records and all that sort of stuff are just like dodgy at best. It's probably like, written on a rock somewhere that they gave to her. Like Lebanon is not very.
Really? Oh, mine was easily accessible via a birth certificate.
I couldn't even guess what I think Lebanon would be like. I have no context for it. I got nothing.
In the 70s, it was like a beautiful vacation area for the French. They had colonized it. So like, back in the day. So people spoke like Arabic, French, then English growing up. So the coastline, it's on the Mediterranean. It's very beautiful. Then war tore the place apart. Coastline's still fine because that's where the money is.
A recent war.
In the 80s.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, really.
The vibe to me, I feel like it would be like Israel a little bit. Like, have you been to Israel?
I've never been there. No.
Oh, because I was like, that's what it sounds like a little bit. I haven't been to Lebanon though, so I don't know.
From what I hear, there's commonalities. There's apparently a great nightlife still there.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, that's
awesome
Israel's
restaurants.
like that. Yeah.
The South is villages. It's very like rural. And, but yeah, when people were born in the villages down there, they would wait like a month or two to go give birth certificates and information about stuff into the city because it wasn't worth riding whatever, a horse or a car or whatever.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people got lumped in with like my grandma's birthday was just December 25th because it was like around because she like decided I wanted to be on Christmas or something.
So it's like not her real. That's like when you adopt a dog and you're like looking at their paws and they're like, they're about 3 months old.
So did your mom eventually find your birth time so your first girlfriend could do your chart?
She had the certificate, but then had to remember. She's like, give me a day or two so I can. I'm going to ask Dad what hospital we're with, just to jog her own memory. And then she finally got it. She was like, it's 8:05 in the morning, May 3rd. I'm like, awesome. So I give it to her. She does the chart. It's really accurate. Like so many of the Taurus attributes and all that stuff. And the funny part to me is like 10 years later, I asked for it again so I could do like an online one. And she gave me the birthday. I was like, wait a minute. It was supposed to be 8:05 a.m. She's like, oh yeah, no, it's not. I ended up asking your dad. And I was like, so that time was wrong? And it was wrong by like half a day. But for some reason it didn't affect the chart.
Okay.
But it's supposed to, like, you're supposed to have it like really, really right on the money.
That's what, all right. Yeah. Well, good to know, ladies.
Usually like born in the day, like born when the sun's out, born when the sun's not out is like the big differentiation.
I was born in the middle of the night, apparently, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Yeah, something like that. So maybe like the sun was right about to come out. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Cause anytime you watch an astrologer talk, they're kind of like, so if it was like, the difference between like 8:05 and like 9:05, I don't think it would be a huge difference. Yeah. But now it seems like the sun was down. I know you just tried to make it like the sun was up, but I don't think the sun's up.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't know. Maybe in Lebanon, if the sun's up at 4 a.m. Yeah,
maybe that'd be crazy.
I don't know.
4 a.m. sunrise
seems suspect.
I'm still partying.
Yeah, I don't know that my mom would know either. She was probably in pain.
Yeah, that's
not really
true.
Like looking out a window. Like, it's like
I like that she like tried to do it like she was like a witness to a crime. She was like, let me just think where I was, what time I think it was.
Yeah.
Speaking of pain, you're sober.
11 years as of April 2nd.
Nice. How is that? And what were you like beforehand? Like, was it one of those, I got so fucked up and like my friends had to tell me like, calm down, or like I wasn't a pleasant person, or?
No, it's kind of a weird sort of like, it was a weird build to it because I got pulled over for drunk driving when I was 22, like 10, almost, 8 years before.
Yeah.
And that was like not a wake up call, but it was one of those, like, I got off kind of easy because I ended up having to go to court, but I had no priors and I was so close to the limit that they didn't give me a DUI.
Oh, wow.
And I felt that lesson right there.
Yeah.
Never drove drunk again.
Yeah.
But I liked to go out and drink and like have a good time and stuff. And I was pretty fine through my mid 20s, but like I've had depression and anxiety since I was like a kid. And it like was really bad right before I started stand up when I was like 18. When I found something to do with my life, it felt a little better.
Yeah.
And then in my late 20s, when I felt like I was throwing my life away and like this isn't going to work out and all that sort of stuff, and I felt like
have a beer or 12.
Yeah, I started drinking more, and I was like, I'm about to turn 30. Like this whole dream that I want is not coming true. And growing up in LA and being immersed in that, you think 30 is so old, and you're just like, it's over.
Right. Now it's only old for women. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the people used to say like, you're hitting a wall when you hit 30, that like about women, but then they would also say it about guys, but it just didn't become this thing. It was more like guys would talk about it in hushed tones to not seem like, weak or like they cared about age.
Right.
Like, guys age like a fine wine, but dudes worry about getting older.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, I know you do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but we just don't talk about it that much because it just seems like, I'm too busy being like this tough guy that is only going to get stronger and better as I age.
We got to reframe the aging conversation.
Yeah.
It's really fucked. And it's like human beings are genetically engineered to age and die. Like that's what we do.
Literally none of us will escape it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's like, what if we enjoyed it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. Do you like getting older?
I like it more now.
Yeah.
And I think getting sober helped because from like 27 to 29 and a half was when I started drinking a lot more.
Like how much we talking?
I would drink like 3 or 4 nights a week, and
that sounds too bad.
It's not. But
for you, it was.
That's like that's the interesting gray area with sobriety is like for many decades, it was either like you have an alcohol problem and you're throwing your life away and you're about to die, or you're totally fine, you have no issue. And then,
right, there's no in between, but there's so much in between that.
Yeah, most of it, like most of life, is a huge gray area.
Yes.
You know? And sobriety and alcoholism, I think, is like a spectrum. And I was somewhere in the middle heading towards alcoholic or alcoholism. And I started to feel it like and when you get in your late 20s, hangovers become real, you know, like you wake up the next day and you're just like, half this day is gone. I have a headache. I'm tired. I don't want to do this shit. So 3 or 4 nights a week kind of became every day. I was feeling the effects of it, whether it's I'm drunk and I feel good, or I'm hungover and why am I still doing this?
Yeah.
And then the going out and drinking stopped feeling good. I was just doing it to not think about life. And, you know, I would never like black out. I blacked out once, but I think I was drugged. Yeah. And I was in San Francisco in this like daytime festival called Beta Breakers. It's like in the streets.
Sounds like primetime roofie.
Yeah, I put my beer down on a newspaper stand, just talking to people for a few minutes, and then the next thing I remember was like just flashes. I was in someone's kitchen.
Oh, that's definitely drugged.
Another flash, I was in a whole nother apartment, and then
someone tried to touch you?
I don't remember.
Wow.
And I woke up.
Did your butthole feel weird?
No, nothing felt weird.
That's
fortunately,
good.
And all my clothes were on like properly. You know.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You got
the
to
way
check
I
that.
put them on. Yeah.
And the last time I woke up, I was in a friend's apartment, so I knew I was fine. Like I guess we met up.
Yo,
with
you
them.
were definitely roofied. That is a beer does not do that. Wow.
Yeah, and that was near the end of when I was drinking, and I took that as I was like, "Am I going to be a blackout guy now?" It's like, and that's like one of those signs.
Well, a blackout is also. I mean, I just black out sometimes. It's like it's just a switch. Like I read a whole psychological paper on it. It's not like it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a terrible problem. It's just a switch in your head that once you switch it, you can't unswitch it.
Real.
And it can happen from like two drinks or like 5 drinks. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a switch.
I was listening to a podcast on the drive back to New York, a Huberman Lab it's called, and he was talking about alcohol, and he said, now 2 drinks a week, you're fine. I'm like, 2 drinks
a week?
A week?
What's the point?
Bitch, I'll have 2 drinks. What? I'm like,
wait.
wait.
I'll have 2 drinks listening to this podcast.
I don't trust that guy though. He's a little, he's like a lot of that guy who also interviews people and says like the birth control pill. I don't believe.
What does he say about it?
He's like one of those people who's trying to push that thing about like the birth control pill is terrible, which I just think is like men's, they saw a little chance to take more control over women's bodies. I don't trust that guy at all.
Well, your eye for people is never wrong. So, or
I've never listened to his podcast, but I've seen him on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you say, if someone's a doctor or a specialist or has a degree and they put that on and then you put it online, you go, oh, they must be reputable, but that doesn't mean anything.
I think he also fucking sells supplements. So
yeah. I mean, he's very, very famous and popular, but
and he's like a legit, I think, scientist.
He's at Stanford.
But that's where they get you. You know? Yeah. Oh, you've never met a scientist.
Dr. Oz was also a doctor.
I mean, who's getting paid off? I mean, come on.
Yeah. America, baby.
Yeah,
we're getting kickbacks.
The payoffs for sure, and then I think everybody has personal beliefs that they favor.
Of course.
All right, the science is still murky, but I really do think, and you're like, all right.
You can find a pull science data to back basically anything you want, which is what the news constantly does.
Well, and then I tried to go on Google and be like, how much is it how many drinks a week makes you an alcoholic? And there's like a million different answers, but it ranged from 3 or more a week. I'm like, 3 or more a week? Y'all is pussies. What is happening?
It depends on why you drink and how you
I think
act.
that's a great,
what your behaviors
definitely
are.
how you act, because some people that drink and they're assholes the second they have a drink in them. I'm like, you should never drink. Yeah, those people, please don't.
So, but if you're nicer when you drink, does that mean that you should drink all the time?
But I see what you're saying.
I used to do it when I was younger, so I could feel comfortable in social situations. Yeah. So everyone thought I was. They're like, "Oh, you're so fun at parties, and you're fun to hang out with."
Right.
And stuff. I remember one of the bartenders at the Comedy Store, like the first year I quit drinking, was just like, I was just kind of talking to her and getting a water, and I wasn't in a great mood or a bad mood. I was just kind of tired. I didn't want to be at the fucking Comedy Store. It was just one of those nights. And she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "What do you mean nothing?" She was like, "You were so much more fun when you drank." I was like,
"Cute."
Jesus. And then later she was in a bad mood. She's like, "I didn't mean that." But I was like, "Was I?" And then I started thinking,
sure.
I was like, "God, I probably was." Because
I know a lot of people that are more fun when they drink.
I
and
definitely
they drink.
drank to be more fun and more comfortable so I could have more fun.
Yeah.
That was not good.
That's tough.
Even though the results were good. But
what do you do when you're more fun when you drink?
it's kind of sad when you think about it
is.
later. You're like, can I just not be me? And like, because I was being a version of me, just more confident.
Well, when you drink for a lot of people, not for everybody, like the ones who turn into assholes, their walls don't come down. When you drink, like your walls come down and you're not, your defenses are kind of neutralized. So you can just be like, hey, what up? And that is kind of nice. It's just figuring out how to access that sober.
Yeah,
There's got to be a way.
That was tricky. And I knew I needed to quit when I wasn't doing any of that anymore. I wasn't having fun. I was just going, I was like hanging out with like friends that I only hung out with to go out to the bars and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I even really like good friends with these guys? Or they're just always down to go grab a beer or two and like meet some girls or...
That's always an interesting conversation. Like when you think about the friends you would lose if you didn't drink anymore. And then you go, our only connection is drinking.
Yeah.
It's a lot of friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 friends that I hung out with, and inside that first 6 months, it was instant. Never hung out with them again.
Yeah.
Instant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even on purpose. It was just like, I'm going to remove certain scenarios from my life. Like,
Cleaning out your closet. Yeah.
Obviously going to bars before or after shows, and no more hanging out at the Comedy Store or the Improv if it's like before a set or after. I'll get there right before I go on and leave right after, just to take care of myself.
Because the hang is conducive to drinking always.
And I would call, like, Nikki Glazer got sober right around the same time. I did a little bit before. And so we would text and call and stuff if I was like, I really feel like having a drink. I'm at the store. I'm waiting to go on.
Super helpful to have a buddy.
Yeah. And because it was like very similar timelines, and she's a comedian. So she's felt that urge to drink at a comedy club. And, you know, and so having like a couple friends like that you could like, you know, reach out to, like, helped. I drank more water than I ever had in my life. I just like
skin's glowing.
90 bottles of water and just to have something that, you know,
that oral fixation. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it felt weird that first year. I couldn't have sex. I was like,
That's so interesting. Yes. Let's talk about
Sober
that.
sex.
It's
a whole different type of activity.
It was like, I don't know how long it took me to actually maybe like 6 or 8 months or
that's like a big, that's like for me in my 30s. Like I still drink, but it's like, I feel like when you're in your 20s, like you're going out so much. That's so much of the sex you have is at least like the first time is like under the influence of alcohol. So then when you enter your 30s and you're just like, you know, more serious about your career, you're not drinking as much, like these having sober, like you get nervous like it's your first time.
It's kind of sweet. I like that though.
Like it's like scary.
Like day sex sober, you're like, ooh, risky.
It's weird.
That was like a frightening prospect. To like sex
vulnerability, man.
During the day sober, I'm like, what world is this? Like, is that even allowed? You can fuck during the day?
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought you could only do it between the hours of like 1:30 and 5 in the morning or something like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the first few months I got sober, I was in a relationship that was about to end. And it was
easy time not to have sex then.
Yeah. But we did.
The best time.
Sorry, I'm working on my sobriety.
Well, here's the sad part of that actually is when I was dating her was like at the kind of the worst, like at the near end of getting sober. And she is the one girlfriend that I cheated on.
Damn.
And that was another sign where I was like, I'm not like this. Like, whoa.
Because you were drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd never cheated before.
Yeah.
And it like, I almost like looked back on that night as if I was someone else watching me and like thinking, I'm Nick and I'm watching that guy do stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
This is not good. And I told myself, like that week I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, if I don't stop drinking now, I'm going to wake up at 35 an alcoholic with no life and just have
no
burned
career.
bridges and, you know, like girlfriend just left because I was an asshole and, you know, and I quit. And when I quit, I told her I cheated on her.
Okay.
Because it needed to be
for you?
Clean. It was, it was more for me because she would have never known. And she told me she would have never known.
Yeah.
But I knew.
She glad she knows.
Was that? It's hard. That cheating and telling somebody it's not a black and white conversation.
Correct.
Because you do run the risk of like destroying the relationship, and it would be your fault for sure as the cheater.
Yeah.
But there is a world where if it was just the one-time thing and she was never going to know, and you were able to handle that and not have it psychologically affect your love for her, or just, you start resenting her for some weird reason because you hate yourself for doing it.
Right.
And, like, it can have that effect. So it could be better to not tell the person, but I knew I couldn't handle it because the guilt was already ripping me to shreds. And then I'm like, now I'm going to be sober. That guilt's going to be right in the forefront going, you're a piece of shit. How could you do that? She loves you so much. Why would you do that? All she's ever done is love and support you. And she was so nice and so awesome. And like, it made
How was telling her? And also, did you fuck this person or did you just make out with them? Was there finger? Like when you cheat, like what are we talking about? How many bases?
We had sex.
Okay, got
it. And it was a girl that I had.
If you just made out and you told her to actually laugh at you now.
No. Yeah, like you didn't have to tell her that.
Yeah. But see that there are some people though that would qualify that as cheating.
I mean, I would be
and they would.
It's not great to go out and make out with people. I'm just saying, like, if it was a one-time make out with him, and I knew it, and you fucking went through telling her, I would be like, Jesus Christ.
I would be devastated if my boyfriend made out with somebody else. But then I'm like, just if it was a one-time thing, I'm like, just don't tell me.
Yeah.
Just don't tell me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think this scenario was going to be hard to not ever tell her. And
sex, that's intimate. Yeah.
The build up to telling her, because we broke up, but I think we were going to break. It was one of those, you feel a relationship ending just because it's run its course. Like you've been together like year and a half, 2 years, and you already know like this isn't forever. Like I already have so many mental issues.
Sometimes your body gets you out of the relationship before your brain and heart is ready to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we broke up briefly, and then she still wanted to get back together, and I still felt like I wanted to, wasn't sure. And then I knew, I was like, if I get sober, I'm going to start thinking with a clear head. And maybe some of that's muddling my views on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because maybe it's just me and not her, and I'm just so unhappy it's affecting that. So I told myself, we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to talk about getting back together, and you are going to man the fuck up and tell her you cheated on her. And if she says, fuck you for the rest of time, I don't want to be with you, you deserve that. You deserve that. You lost this girl. You deserve to be alone, and figure it out. Go fix yourself. So this is so, I so feel
it's one of life's fun situations. Yeah. I feel it for you, man.
I went to her place and we sat down, and I was like, look, I want to work on our relationship. And she was happy to hear it. And she was like, good, I love you. I'm sorry that you're so depressed and this and that, and like life isn't good, and all these different things.
Oh, she's
and I
so
said,
sweet.
Yeah. And I was like, look, I've just stopped drinking and I want to work things out, but I need to be completely honest. And she just like, her eyes kind of widened a little bit. And she was like, oh, what are you going to fucking tell me? And I go, do you remember that night that I stayed out?
My heart is dropping in my stomach.
Yeah. I stayed out
I'm gonna cry.
really late, and I fell asleep because the part where I say I fell asleep on my friend's couch was true.
And then you fucked someone also on the
couch. There were like 4 people. We all like were hanging out, and we all just crashed there. And I fell asleep with all my clothes on, and I was wearing boots. And I said, that night that I fell asleep on my friend's couch and you were worried and didn't know where I was, I said, I cheated on you that night.
She was worried on top of it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then she was like, that night, I wouldn't, she's like, when you said I had to tell you something, I knew you were going to say I cheated. But she said, I didn't think it was going to be that night. And I said, why?
What night did you think it was going to be?
Because when I came home, I was taking my boots off, and it like hurt because I'd had them on like from the morning before all throughout the night, and they weren't like really broken in.
Did you fuck this girl you cheated on with your boots on?
I think I was wearing, yeah.
You don't even remember.
Yeah, I think I like took my shirt off.
Damn,
and
you don't even remember the sex, huh?
No, I do for the most part.
Oh, okay.
But we had sex a bunch before I dated her. So she was like a casual hookup friend.
Yeah.
So we hooked up a bunch and she was like, that was an understanding.
Layer, yeah.
And she also didn't care that I had a girlfriend because she was just like, you're ending this relationship. I can tell you're not happy. You're going to end it anyway. So I don't feel any
Women love
guilt.
to say, I can tell you're not happy. You could be smiling ear from ear. Yeah.
You don't really
eating
love
a
her.
brownie and be like, I can tell
oversoon.
you're not doing well. You're not happy. Let me fix you.
Yeah, you're on the altar and she's like, no. See it in your eyes.
That's so funny. Yeah.
You hesitated to take the ring. No.
Yeah.
So she said, when you came home and you were taking those boots off, the pain looked real. And I really just thought, because I had trusted you up until that point, and I just was like,
Damn.
And she just looked at me like, I don't even know what to say to you. I want to just slap you across the face. I want to leave. I want to tell you to fuck off. And she's like, I'm glad you told me. I'm glad you told me the truth, but I honestly don't know what to do.
Yeah, you got to process that.
And I said, I am going to respect any decision you make. I am sorry beyond belief. Like I knew that you would never know, but the guilt would have consumed me. And that's how much I want this relationship to work, that I'm going to tell you something that could right now end it, but hopefully you find a way to forgive me.
Yeah,
we can move forward.
Well, because she would be moving forward in this relationship with all of the knowledge that she needs to know. It's almost like if you never told her, then you took away her agency to choose to remain in the relationship given that information. Yeah. So it's like, it is good you told her.
And imagine how much worse it'd be if I didn't. We get back together, then the guilt builds and builds, and then I just break up with her again 4 or 5 months later because I'm like, look, I never told you this and the guilt's consuming me. I cheated on you. She'd be like, motherfucker, why didn't you tell me that right before we got back together? It just, I could see that timeline, and I'm like, it's more respectful to the relationship and to her to just tell her right now.
So in that instance, I'm always curious about cheating. Is such a fascinating subject. I've cheated. I've been cheated on. I've read a lot of books about cheating. Cheating happens in so many relationships. And I think it's because we don't have certain types of conversations, or we take things and we take cheating very personally. But if you think about it, even though it feels so personal, it's actually not. It's actually not. Like, you didn't fuck that girl because you didn't like your girlfriend. You fucked that girl because maybe you didn't like yourself, or you didn't like, or you were like, why did you? Like, I'm just curious.
I cheated on her for the reason I think most guys cheat, is because I was not mature enough to access my emotions and have honest conversations with myself about how I genuinely just feel. And it's
interesting.
It's hard to just be really honest with yourself, because the idea of men and feelings and talking to yourself about them or your other guy friends is just really uncomfortable. So guys end up taking lots of shortcuts to not deal with feelings. So like violence is a huge one. Guys are doing most of the fighting outside of bars and that kind of shit. Yelling and screaming, is a real quick shortcut to getting out emotions, even if they're not the ones you want to access.
Right.
Stand-up comedy.
Yeah, stand-up.
Sure. Being in a band.
Starting a rock career. Those are like there's some productive ways, sure, I guess. Yeah. And then like blowing something up instantly, whether it's like
blowing up like a good thing, like
so you go, okay, I probably am not in love with this person anymore and I don't want to be with them. Should I have a conversation? But I don't know how. I don't know the vocabulary. I haven't accessed those emotions, and I wouldn't know how to have it. I'll probably just feel defensive right away because she's going to say something negative about me, or and then you go, well, what's the quickest way and the most immature way to do it?
Fuck someone else.
Yeah.
That's how I ended my relationship.
And guys, stereotypically guys think with their dick a lot. And that is a combination of those two things. I can just go get drunk, fuck this person, and you're telling yourself you don't want her to find out. But you, in the back of your mind, hope that the relationship like ends itself, like, or an external force comes in.
Self-combust almost. Yeah.
Or like some guys fantasize where they go, this is girl that I'm with and I don't want to be with her anymore. And their fantasy is that she gets a job offer in Paris that she has to take, and secretly you're like, yes,
being the girl on the other end of that must be fucking infuriating. Like if you knew the dynamics at play. However, I say that, and I've been in your role. Like I was in a relationship for 7 years. I fucked somebody else. And then I knew myself.
What year in the relationship?
I broke up with him the next day. But I know myself so well that I was like, the guilt would eat me alive. The sex that I had with this guy was incredible, and I was like, okay,
the guy you cheated on.
Yeah, it was great. And I didn't want to fuck my boyfriend anymore, and I was like, okay, I think this is what's happening, but my heart wasn't brave enough to do it. So my body was like, all right, bitch, I'll do it for you. We're gonna fuck this person, and then the next day you're just gonna break up with him because that's your conscience is gonna do that. And I didn't tell him I cheated because I was like, it doesn't matter because I that's what got me out of the relationship. So I get that strategy.
And then I'm sure he found out later.
No. Unless he listens to this.
Sure he knows. I'm sure he has to know by now. But yeah, I think. So what is it?
Have you ever cheated?
No. I think I kissed one guy. Like in my early 20s, like the day before I was going to break up with someone. I think that's the extent of it. But I've never. Yeah, no.
Like never full on. Yeah.
No,
I don't recommend it.
Well, honestly, it's just a pain and too much of a pain in the ass for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a good liar.
Yeah, I've cheated twice, and both times the next day I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I also just don't have problems ending relationships, so I'll just end the relationship.
That's awesome.
She's not afraid of the truth. It's crazy.
Have you always kind of been that way with dating? Like even early on, you're just like, I'm not into this. Let's bye. See ya.
Well, I think I've definitely gotten faster at being able to tell when I'm no longer in a relationship. Because when in the beginning, all right, so like my longest relationship was my first one. I dated that person for 5 years. But I think that's really common when you're young because you have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
That's the only feeling of happiness within a relationship that you know is this.
Yeah.
So how do you know if you could be happier? You don't. Like you're like, maybe this is just what a relationship is. And like to this day, like still one of my favorite boyfriends is that first boyfriend. That was one where it kind of just like, like you said, it just had expired. I had outgrown that relationship. I needed to go and live on my own.
It's hard. It's a hard conversation to have.
But in the end, I'm sure, I mean, you obviously were happy with the decision, but I bet that guy was happier looking back that you did it that way instead of
that guy was pretty fucked up about it. I had a conversation with him recently. He was like, I will never love again the way I love.
Holy shit.
Still, wow.
Well, he was also,
maybe she should have cheated.
But he's also like 8 years older than me. So I think at that time he had a lot more to compare it to. And now kind of being being the older, like being the age I am now, sometimes I'm dating younger people and I'm like, you don't understand how like rare what we have is. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm me, so I can't tell that to you.
Exactly.
Right.
So you just have to
realize it later.
Go and then maybe you come back, maybe you don't,
Yeah.
That's a risk you take as the older person dating a younger person who's not that experienced, in relationships. It's like you can't tell a younger person anything.
No, you cannot.
You're dating them, when
I was that younger person, I'm like, can't tell me nothing.
I had so many aha moments where I thought a lot about that relationship as I've gotten older. So many times when I was like, oh my God, this must be how he was feeling. Oh my God, this is so painful. Yeah. I know I made him feel this way.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, it's not like, and I mean, there were many times over the years when I was like, did I make a mistake in not marrying that person?
Shit.
I didn't. Like I've gone back like numerous times just to like feel it out. I'm like, it's still not my person because just because someone is an excellent person doesn't mean they're the person for you. And that's another like hard truth to learn in life.
That's another great example of the gray area inside of something where it's like you can have relationships where the person is almost perfect, but when you think about forever or even like 10 years, you go, wait, no. I don't want that for the next, because of multiple things like your age, your inexperience. I don't want to live in the city anymore. I didn't.
Sometimes it's something as simple as that, as I don't want to live in the city. That was like a big problem with like, I love New York. And like, if someone doesn't love New York, like that's going to be a fucking issue.
Yeah. Life is much bigger than any one relationship.
But then you go, is love, like, is this love that I have with this person? Where do you sacrifice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why I think those like books and movies about like, like true love that spans generations. I think it's just so rare.
Yeah.
That's why it works, because it's real. It's just not common. Like most of our relationships will fail. And that's a hard truth. Like every
relationship will until one doesn't.
Yeah.
And Dan Savage says that a lot.
When you're near the end of one, you're just like, no, this has to work, but I love you. And you're like, if that were true, we would all have married the first person we ever dated, because we did feel that way at one time about whoever we were with, but it just isn't meant to be most of the time.
And so sad.
The very rare times where you do marry your high school sweetheart, or the second or third person you dated in your mid-20s, you were just like, oh my God, I found the one and I literally cannot imagine life without them. It's like, I envy that. Like, good for you. I'm too broken to have ever probably had that.
You've never felt like you can't imagine life without a person that you've dated?
No, I sometimes can't even imagine life with me.
But
going forward, like,
I was going to say,
been suicidal so many times. I'm like, how the hell am I going to give that to someone else?
But I've been suicidal a lot, and it's like it just comes in waves. It's big feelings, man. I think everybody, not every person has been suicidal, but like, it's just a thing that happens.
Yeah. To varying degrees, I think, and I can handle it better now that I'm sober. And
I imagine
I just turned 40, but like in my 30s, it was like, to kind of circle back a little bit, when I turned 30 and when I got sober, that first 2 years into that, probably the best few years of my life. I think.
Why?
I was in the best shape mentally and physically that I've ever been in.
That helps.
I saw things crystal clear. I was like, this is what I want. This is what I don't want.
Yeah.
I feel so good being sober, and I want life to happen.
Yay.
I want to make things and do things and connect and be with people. And I wanted so much out of life that I don't know that I'd ever felt, minus like the first few years into stand-up, which almost doesn't count because I was like 18 to 21. It's like,
your brain's not developed yet.
Yeah. So that sort of like, that felt good, and it made a lot of the low moments manageable. But
did it go away?
No, there was still, I was just sort of riding this like sober high, I think. But by my mid 30s, I think that had sort of leveled out, and reality became reality in a lot of ways. And I was like, okay, I am a sober person and I'm going to be this way. Now let's figure out this other stuff, like mental health things that probably need therapy and medication and stuff like that. Cause I don't want to slip into old habits or just find other ways to justify, my sad brain and so on and so forth. Cause I know plenty of sober people who do still do shitty things, like, they're not nice to their friends. They cheat. They're like emotionally unavailable still. Doesn't have to be the booze or the Coke or whatever you're into.
Right.
So I knew I needed like a lot of work there, but
it's all about what you allow yourself to get away with is a huge thing, and your own how far or at all that you allow yourself to slip from your morals. Because I think once you start doing that, it's like the slippery. Yeah, it scared me to wake up at 35 with that life, because one of the benefits of starting stand-up so young, especially at the Comedy Store, was like I entered this environment where everyone was at least 8 to 12 to 15 years older than me. Nice.
And I saw the whole spectrum.
You saw your futures.
Yeah, and a lot of them are like headshots on the walls in the hallway, and they're just like these ghosts in a way where you just sometimes you're like, what the hell ever happened to that guy?
Yes. Oh my God.
And sometimes it's like, oh, that guy went on to be like produce TV shows, and he's probably one of the richest people on this wall. You've just never heard of him. And you're like, cool. What happened to that guy? I drank himself to death. And you're just like, God damn. Yeah. And then sometimes you'd see those guys wandering the hallways of the store they still want spots, or they're just like hanging out, maybe trying to like pick up a girl, and they're like in their 50s. And you're just like, and I just saw so many examples of what to be and what not to be, all in that one building, all in those first few years. It was like this weird, like college for life kind of place, where you learn about stand up, and you learn like it can go well and it can go real bad. And that can all happen like that.
Yeah.
You party too hard after a development deal or your first TV show or whatever the thing is, it can go south and you're replaceable like that. No one cares. Everyone's out for themselves. You have to have a solid inside.
And you have to have a good relationship with your ego and with your soul.
Yeah.
That dance is super important.
And
when
I
you lead
didn't
from
know-
your ego.
I didn't know any of that shit going in. I was a kid, and you're just figuring it out as you go. And I'll always have empathy for anybody like getting into stand up and just being dumb and making mistakes and just like saying and doing the wrong thing, thinking like it's cool to be a dick to so and so. And I don't think you should be that way, but there's so many people that like arrive to Hollywood or start doing something because they think that's gonna fix them. And it's only, it's a few Band-Aids at best.
Yeah.
You may end up processing some stuff because you are creating, you're writing, you're thinking, it's the closest thing the last few generations of dudes had to like
critical thinking,
self-help was like, writing songs and stuff. And that's like, and then these other like dudes who refuse to feel feelings would like, I love this Guns N' Roses ballad. And you're like, you love the ballad? Like, yeah, good though. But that's just, you're a few steps away from just being able to cry at a movie and like all these other things that are healthy for you as a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just takes so...
Do you remember like moments growing up where you were very much given the impression of, when I express feelings, that's bad?
I grew up in a Middle Eastern household. It was fairly conservative. My dad is like an old school man. Like he been working since the age of 11.
Oh, Jesus.
Because his dad got sick and this was Lebanon. There's no structure to there's no safety net.
Unemployment.
Yeah. So he started laying marble and tile when he was like 11 years old and did that.
So he was robbed of his childhood.
Big time. He brought over his whole family one by one before him.
Wow.
So he sent them all to America with nothing, with very little he was making. And he's never known anything but wake up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, go to work, take care of your family, and there's no time to whine, cry, sleep in. Failure's not an option. I mean,
I'm just laughing thinking of you, his son, long-haired, pretty funny boy over here. Like how mad he is.
Father.
In the middle of the night. This fucking guy.
Joke, Daddy.
He hated my baggy pants.
Yes.
I had long hair kind of like this, but
I'm mad for him.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he God, he hated it. And I'd like in the 90s, the step cut was popular. So he'd shave.
Oh, wow.
So I shaved it all the way up to here and then grew it.
Oh,
Not
wow.
this
Like
long,
TLC.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Fuck.
He looked at me like, what is
because
this?
What did I lay marble for?
I love considering your parents, where they came from and what they went through, because if you do think about it, the way that he sacrificed his soul for his family, like, you guys didn't ask to be born, you didn't ask for this, but at the same time, it's so admirable. And I can't imagine like how angry he would feel at your freedom. That's got to be a really tough feeling.
He was angry at how he thought I was misusing it. And that's a classic immigrant story. Where
Yes.
we came to this country so you could benefit from the freedom. Go to college, get good grades, all that sort of stuff.
That's freedom to him.
But like, what's freer than being an artist? It's the freest.
Oh my God. Yes.
The freedom I felt being able to like, I had a mohawk for a long time when I was young. I dyed it. My dad threatened to shave it while I was sleeping so many times. And I really believed him. I was like, I'm going to wake up one day. Cause he's like, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to see that blue hair on the pillow. And I was like, and I ran and told my mom, like, is dad really going to shave my head? And she's like, he's not, but can you just dye it black at least? Like, can you help us out here? Cause my mom is like the sweetest person and is always mediating. I was a nightmare child. I was getting in trouble. Yeah, I would.
Rebelling.
Authority? No.
Yeah.
Yelling at teachers. I've thrown desks at administrators. I was bad. I was a bad kid. I threatened to fight and kill one of my.
Sick.
I had to take a high school like makeup class over the summer because I failed some elective, and they were like, take this like radio broadcast class, casting class. Sorry. And I was standing. I remember the day I got kicked out. I was standing out in the parking lot, telling the teacher she was a failed radio DJ.
Nice.
Was worthless, would never amount to anything.
All right.
And
husband material.
Yeah, if I
got some emotions.
If I could like set fire to this building or kill everyone.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. That's like what a school shooter says before he goes to get the gun. Shit. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't get arrested.
I know. Yeah. If this were like the mid 2000s, my life probably would have gone differently in terms of the trouble I would have gotten into legally. But I remember the two thug kids in class, like grew up in like East LA, they came out to protect the teacher from me.
Wow.
Because she asked them for help because they were like
wise.
They were intimidating, but I was like kind of friendly with them because they liked how off the rails I was. They're like, dude, you're crazy,
I
bro.
respect that.
Yeah, it's a fun
and they were
guy.
like, hey, the teacher wants you to like stop yelling and screaming.
Oh, they were the mediator.
And then they got the school security to come escort me off the premises. I was like that. I was a lot of misplaced anger and just teen angst and stuff that, you know, I'm glad I started stand when I was 18 for some reasons because they helped me channel that stuff. I knew I wanted to do it when I was like 15 and it really helped. There were healthier ways to fix, you know.
Sure.
But
stand-up's pretty healthy. Like a creative outlet's a very healthy way.
Yeah. I agree. And a lot of the friends I had in school, I ended up in jail and, you know, I think one of my very, very first friend I ever made, I found out last year, is serving a life sentence for murder.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Super sweet kid too. He was very nice to me. Never treated me different. All the other kids were
maybe he
big nose. You're from the Middle East. Your parents are terrorists, and he never treated me like anything else other than a friend. He was always the nicest guy. I'd run into him every few years in LA. Aww. Smiles, dude. And every time he'd run into my brother, say hi to Nick for me. The nicest guy in the world. They're serving a life sentence.
Maybe it was self-defense.
Someone just crossed him, you know?
Self-defense.
Maybe, but there's a handful of kids. I grew up in like the middle class suburbs of LA, but it's just like a lot of
violence,
bad shit.
A lot of shit. Yeah. Well, we have to wrap soon, but there's one topic that I really wanted to get to before we let you go, and that's a foot fetish. I've never talked to somebody with a foot fetish. I'm so curious about that. Tell us everything.
Well,
like how fetishy do you have it for feet?
It depends
on the feet.
Yeah, I talk about it in my stand-up special, and I kind of liken it to, I see like nice looking feet in the same way any other person would see a nice butt or nice tits or nice thighs. Name the body part. And I don't know why it's like that. It's always been, ever since I became a sexual being and noticed like boobs or this or that, that was one of the things. And I was just like very like symmetrical, well taken care of, well pedicured, like feet just look really appealing. And it's not always like I want to do stuff to that and put them in my mouth or like fuck them or whatever. Like I definitely have had feet. I have done that.
All right, nice.
I've had those thoughts and sometimes I do, but it's more like the beauty of it is very like comforting, and I just like it's
comforting.
It's nice to look at.
Yeah,
and it's a body part where you're not going to get looked at, you know, weird in a way. Like if you see a girl walking down the street and she's wearing like, I mean, maybe more now because the foot fetishing is way out there.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, I literally know it's like spring when the feet guys come out. You feel them on your feet.
Yeah, that's really funny. But if you're looking at
what them toes do.
Toe catcalling.
I've definitely been the guy that's like looked too long sometimes.
Has anybody called you out on it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
because I'm like, I mean, I'm pretty like respectful about like I don't like leer at women too long. You know,
what you got there?
Even when it's that, I'm like crawling around the streets and you're like, oh, I dropped my a quarter. Like, who has quarters anymore?
Nice feet are appealing. I get it. Like I still remember what Amber Rose's toes look like because I had never seen a nicer pair of feet in my fucking life.
Feet. My boyfriend, I've never dated a guy with like beautiful feet. My boyfriend has beautiful, perfect feet. It's weird.
My girlfriend says the same thing about me, and I'm
like, now I kind of like it. It is kind of hot.
Yeah,
so I get it.
It can look. I mean, they can obviously look pretty, and there's some guys that are like, that's so disgusting. I'm like,
it's not really that disgusting.
There's nail salons everywhere where the entire objective is to make them look clean, and pretty, and nice. So it's like, I don't know what feet you're thinking of. Where
I don't think it's gross.
You know?
Yeah.
And I've run the range from like, I just like the way they look to like, I want to put them in my mouth. Or I give great foot massages.
Yeah, I bet.
Great.
I love giving my girlfriend foot massage.
Right. Have you ever dated a gal with gross feet?
Maybe.
Can you overcome that?
But I turn it off right away. I stop seeing them.
You stop seeing the feet, you stop seeing the girl.
No, I stop seeing the feet. Yeah, I just go like
the girl.
Because that's one very easy thing to avoid in a person. Like half the time they're wearing socks and shoes and stuff, or it's like it won't come up in bed. Like my girlfriend now has pretty feet, and but I don't like have the desire to like do stuff. I love giving her foot massages, or if she puts her like feet up on me. If we're watching TV, I'll just like and it feels comforting and nice, and
I get that.
But there's it's beyond just like, her putting an arm around me, and that feels comforting, nice. There's like this weird connection that's there, and it's not like ultra perverted, which I'm sorry.
So you're not like not getting like an erection when she does this.
Sometimes, yeah. So it can be a turn on in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not like the foot fetish guy where I'm like going to like pay for people's feet pics and that kind of like, I don't go after it like porn or anything. It's not like that. But I do like, I need them to look good. Like it just is a bummer if I'm just like, oh man,
toes suck.
If I go out, with a girl and she's like super hot and then she just has like unattractive feet, I'm just like, ugh. Like, I mean, like if you're dating,
I mean, you can't
go on a date with a guy, you want them to have like a nice body in the way that you like a nice body.
Yes,
like,
right, of course.
Some girls like ripped or just lean or whatever the body type. It's kind of the same. Like if girl takes her shirt off, you're like, I hope she has nice tits.
I don't think anybody
nice
wants their partner to have bad feet. Like bad. I don't even know what constitutes bad feet, but I would say like when your heel is like crusty that you haven't touched it in a while. That's
fix that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like things that you can fix that you don't.
And some like the foot is similar to like in a way a guy will like, I like a tight butt or like big tits or small perky. Same with a foot. Like some guys like long toes or long big
I'm your
feet,
gal.
or like I do not. I want them smallish and like very symmetrical. Toes can't be long. Like
toes in the order.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm very specific about that. Certain nail colors are like very attractive.
What are the nail colors that you like?
I like bright color. Like red is a classic, but
red is a classic.
I like bright colors. I like a lot of like pastels and stuff.
Ooh.
But I don't like the tan skin.
Yeah, that's
whether
weird.
it's on hands or I'm just like,
like the French manicure.
Yeah,
You're talking about that?
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it for me.
So do you like sometimes like will you like go with your girlfriend to the nail salon? Like would that get you off if like you like could pick out the color for her?
It doesn't get me off, but I like that I can do that because
that's fun bonding.
By the way, I'm not a hypocrite about this sort of
thing. You go
to
the nail salon?
I take care of my hands. I get pedicures.
Well, I imagine if she said you had nice feet that you get pedicures. There's very few people going au natural, like getting having amazing feet.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, especially as a dude. But yeah, I mean, I go with her, and it's important to take care of yourself in that way, But I will pick the colors, and she already knows that. She'll just go like, "What color do you want me to get?" She's very like, because she ultimately doesn't give a fuck. She's just like,
it's toes.
She's like, "Yeah, I'll just pick any color that looks appealing at that moment." But I'm like, "No, I've thought about this for a day since you made." And I'm like, "You did green last week, and then you did this like pink." Like the 2 pedicures ago, I'm like, I think we're gonna need an orange.
You have a chart.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. Oh, I love like a hot orange, like a neon orange.
Those neons can look good, and it's just like the mood that I'm in. Sometimes the color can
for sure
can just reflect that. But
now, are you ever reading the titles of the colors? They have fun names.
That I stopped doing when I realized they're kind of different all over, and they don't have any effect. I'm just gonna say the color I think it should be, and or they'll give you that thing with the different fake nails on it.
Right.
Point to the one you want. I'm
yeah. That's beautiful.
Wow.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And you have a special out. What's it called? Where can we find it? When can we watch it?
It's called Take Care, and I filmed it at Zinc Bar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I funded it through a GoFundMe, and then put all the other rest of the money I have to my name into it. It's on YouTube. It's free. And what else? And I talk about a lot of that stuff we're talking about, masculinity, how men need to be different and feel more, and I covered a lot of like man stuff, but not in that old school sort of bro-y way. Men need to.
What I hate about broads.
Men need to change. We need to become more, like emotionally, because I've learned a lot of that myself. So I want to, and I talk about my girlfriend, who by the way is right here.
That's your girlfriend?
her?
Yeah, she's an artist, and she does a lot of film.
Nice butt.
Film self-portraits.
Yeah, I would too if I looked like that.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, so she made shirts and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm wearing this on the podcast, and I'm
amazing.
I love that.
And so check out her stuff too. I'm a big supporter, a big fan of her art.
Oh, that's
she's great. She's super talented. But do that after you watch my special.
You know what? That's fair.
Priorities,
That's fair.
baby.
Right, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been Guys We Fcked, the anti-slut shaming podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday. Bye. Thank you.